my strollers go with you through the...
And some jokes on your safari adventure. To ensure a safe and pleasant trip, you should be in good health and free from life pressure, or other conditions that could be aggravated by this adventure.
All right, let's go. Now, my name is Maddie. I'm going to be y'all's safari guide through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve today. For y'all's safety, please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the truck at all times. So that means please do not swap seats with anybody next to you. If you have a child in your lap, make sure they stay in your lap. Please don't lift them up in the air like baby Simba. Make sure to hold on tightly to all your personal belongings, especially phones and cameras, because this is a photo safari. Do let me know if anything falls off the truck. I'll call my warden. However, we cannot stop in the middle of the ride for any lost items. Last but certainly not least, we are entering the animals' homes. We are their guests, so please be respectful to all the animals we find out here today. This means no whistling noises, kissing noises, kitty noises, screaming, yelling, shouting, clapping, calling out to the animals, things like that. But welcome everybody to the Little Eatery Forest, where animals will camouflage into their background to best evade predators. Now on the right, it looks like there is an okapi. Okapis are often confused to be related to zebras because of their zebra party pants, their black and white stripes. However, they are actually closely related to the giraffe. This is because they have very long prehensile tongues and similar bone structure. However, okapis are extremely shy and reclusive forest animals. So much so that the okapi wasn't even discovered until 1901, the very same year that Walt Disney was born. Now on the left is the local watering hole. This is a really important place here in the forest because it gives animals an area to socialize, get a drink of water, or take a bath. So let's see if we can find any animals here at the watering hole today. Although I don't think I see any just yet. So Twente, let's go. Let's see if we can find any more animals here in the forest. Now they do take advantage of the hilly terrain and the bushes to camouflage themselves even more. So keep your eyes open for any more animals. And y'all can always feel free to use that animal spotting guide near and above your heads if you'd like to help me identify the animals that we find out here today. Now I can't promise we'll find every single animal on that list, but we do tend to get very, very lucky here on the reserves. Now on the left it does look like there are some bongos. They have, as well as a greater kudu. Now bongos are nicknamed the ghosts of the forest because they are rarely seen. They can weigh 500 to nearly 900 pounds and use their horns to help them get through thick and thin brush in the forest. As for the greater kudus, they are one of the tallest African antelopes, measuring at about 55 inches from the shoulder. You can actually differentiate the gender of a greater kudu if you look for horns. Males will have horns, females will not. Alright everyone, we have just left the Little Eatery Forest and we're trucking on into the Sapi River, where animals are very aquatic. So be sure to look towards the water. They do like to hide from us sometimes. So let's see if we can find any animals here in the river today. Now it does look like there are some pink-backed pelicans on the right. Pink-backed pelicans are named after the pink coloration on their skin during mating season. Their wingspan can reach 7 to 9 feet long, 9 feet being about as wide as our truck, and they are colonial nesters, which means they'll nest in groups of 20 to 100. Now an animal to be on the lookout for are Nile hippopotamuses. They do like to submerge to the bottom of the water because they don't have any sweat glands, so they don't want to overheat in the hot African sun. So maybe we'll be able to find some if they come up to the surface. Now they can stay underwater for up to 8 minutes at a time, and although they can swim, they typically are walking or running at the bottom of the water, so they are very hard to find sometimes. But keep your eyes open, maybe we'll be able to find a Nile hippopotamus today. Now a fully grown adult can actually weigh up to 5,500 pounds. A calf, a baby Nile hippopotamus, can weigh up to 85 pounds at birth. And a group of Nile hippopotamuses is actually called a bloated hippopotamuses. But a way more visible animal is going to be on the left. These are the Nile crocodiles. Nile crocodiles on average can measure up to about 16 feet long and they can weigh up to 500 pounds. They have incredible strength in their jaws. They are able to crush the bones of their prey with just one snout. Their main diet consists of fish. However, they will eat just about anything that comes into their path. Additionally, Nile crocodiles can eat one full meal, and they don't have to eat again for a couple of months. All right, everybody, we have just left the Safi River, and we're going to truck on into the next stop on our safari adventure, which is going to be the Safi River. Now, animals here in the river are animals here in the savannah are going to rely on their speed and their agility to best evade predators. To give y'all a quick recap, that's pretty different from the animals we saw in the Little Eatery Forest, who use their ability to camouflage into their background to best evade predators. So let's take a look around, see what animals we can find. Hopefully we can find some of Africa's most famous animals, such as African elephants, Hartman's mountain zebras, lions, Maasai giraffes, wildebeest, and more. Let's take a look around. Welcome to the savannah, everybody. As y'all can tell, the environment here in the savannah is quite different than the environment of the Little Eatery Forest, which has a very hilly terrain, and the Safi River, which has a very large body of water. Here in the savannah, you're mostly going to find flatlands, and this is because of the animals that live here. There are animals that will graze or mow the grass, animals that will bulldoze the trees, as well as animals that will eat and leave the trees. So let's take a look around, see what animals we can find out here today. Okay, this animal is going to be really hard to find, but on the left it looks like there are some African wild dogs. Looks like there's some that are kind of hiding behind that cave. Make sure we're all remaining seated while looking at these animals though. Now, African wild dogs we like to nickname painted dogs is because it looks like they have paint splotches on their backs. They are very successful hunters. They are able to exhaust their prey by making them run and run until they just can't run anymore. Their hunting success rate is actually at about 80%. If you compared that to a lion's hunting success rate, there's only at 20%. So African wild dogs are really good at what they do. Looks like they're kind of sleeping to the right of that cave. And they are very social animals, traveling in packs of 5 to 15, with an alpha male and an alpha female during their breeding season. Now, two animals that are a lot more visible are going to be the sable antelope and the wildebeest on the left.
Oh yeah.
Now, sable is the name of the color of their fur, which is that brownish red color. They use their very arched horns to help defend themselves against predators. Animals like lions often like to attack the sable antelope by jumping onto their backs. So sable antelope will whip their head back and hit the line with those horns. As for the wildebeest, wildebeest is an Afrikaans word. It translates to wild beast. Up to 1.5 million wildebeest will migrate 500 to 1,000 miles each year. And this is actually due to strength in numbers, because they travel in the largest herds. Now on the left are also some Hartman's mountain zebras. A group of them, like this one, is called a dazzle of zebras. Now you can actually tell what their true skin color is. Please be seated in the back, thank you. You can tell what their true skin color is by looking at the color of their nose. So a zebra with a black nose, like the Hartman's mountain zebras, are going to have black skin with white stripes, and vice versa if the zebra has a white nose. Now zebras also do not neigh or whinny. Because they are not horses, they don't make horse sounds. Instead, they make snorting and chuffing sounds. These sounds, along with their body language, allow for the zebras to communicate with one another. Now, on the right, you may notice some termite mounds. This is an environmental feature here in the savannah. Termite mounds are made out of mud, dirt, and saliva. They'll bake in the hot African sun for up to 30 days until they become as hard and as tough as concrete. Not only do termite mounds make excellent homes for termites, they also act as a fantastic scratching post for other animals such as Hartman's mountain zebras, wildebeest, and Maasai giraffes. I did see a Maasai giraffe in the corner of my eye, kind of in the distance, but I think we'll be able to get a much better view as we continue trucking along. Definitely. Okay. Not to worry, y'all. We'll get closer. Now, Maasai giraffes are the tallest animals in the entire world, measuring at 18 to 20 feet tall on average. Before I talk about them really fast, if y'all look towards that palm tree circle, there are some Ankole cattle, recognizable by their very large horns. Their horns can measure up to be about 3 to 4 feet long, and they act as a cooling system, which means blood vessels will circulate through their horns and allow them to get rid of any excess heat. But let's talk about the Maasai giraffe because we're going to get an amazing view of them. Now, a group of Maasai giraffes you can actually call a tower of giraffes. Now, they have very long prehensile tongues, which allow them to reach to the leaves of the trees. These tongues are often blue or purple in color, and this keeps them from being sunburnt because 16 to 20 hours a day is a lot of exposure to the sun. They really only spend about 30 minutes a day sleeping, and they will sleep standing up. They rarely ever sit or lie down because they need to feel extremely protected before they do so. It can take them a while to get back up from a seated position, and this can make them feel vulnerable to predators. All right, y'all, now let's venture a little bit further into the savannah, see what other animals we can find out here today. It looks like there are a lot of fallen down tree branches, so I wonder if we'll be able to find that animal that can bulldoze the trees. Keep your eyes open. All right, it looks like there are some mandrills on the left. These are the largest type of monkeys, weighing at about 100 pounds on average. Look really closely, y'all. Now you can actually recognize an adult male mandrill if you look for red and blue facial markings. So think of Rafiki from The Lion King. They sort of look like that. Their facial markings will get brighter and brighter the more that they get excited. Mandrills also like to congregate in groups of over 100, even though they do tend to be pretty shy. All right, y'all, what a fantastic view we got of the mandrills as well as the Maasai giraffes. But we're going to keep trucking along, see if we can find any more animals out here in the savannah. So let's Twende, let's go. It does look like we are approaching a pretty rickety bridge. Hakuna Matata. No worries, it's too late to turn back. Let's see what's across this bridge. We'll see what we can find. And looks like no worries for us at all. We made it over that bridge just fine. Now on the right and the left are also some red clay pits. If y'all look really closely, you may be able to notice some tusk indentations. And this is because African elephants will actually eat red clay. There are a lot of really important minerals and nutrients in the red clay for the elephants to intake, similar to how we take daily vitamins. Those tusk indentations on the right do look pretty fresh. So, it looks like there are a few African elephants roaming around today, so let's get a closer view. Now, African elephants are the largest animals in the world, weighing about 13,000 pounds on average. I like to remember that they're called the African elephants because their ears kind of look like the continent Africa. However, their ears are extremely important to them because it helps them regulate their body temperatures. So if you notice these African elephants are flapping their ears back and forth, that is to help them cool themselves down. It's quite similar to how humans will sweat and dogs will pant. Let's see if we can get a better view of these African elephants. Now they are very social animals. Typically you'll find the female elephants with the baby elephants because they are really dependent on their mothers. Male elephants, on the other hand, will either travel by themselves or in a bachelor herd, a group of male elephants. Now African elephants do also have pretty sensitive skin. For example, bee stings are very painful for them. So what they like to do is they will fling sand onto their back using their trunk. The sand will then combine with mud and dirt to make a natural sunblock. Can everyone see okay from here? All right. Speaking of trunks, the African elephant trunk actually has about 40,000 muscles in them. That's more muscles than we have in our entire body. Now, unfortunately, African elephants are very heavily poached. This is because of their tusks. Their tusks are made out of ivory, which is the same material you would find in jewelry, as well as a grand piano. Now, a group of African elephants you can call a herd of elephants, as well as a parade of elephants. There is also a very large tree on the left called the baobab tree. The baobab tree is really important to the savanna ecosystem because it can store water in its trunk during severe drought seasons. So African elephants will use their tusks to pierce a hole in the trunk of the tree, which will allow for water to flow out and hydrate the animals. Now, coming up on the left are greater flamingos. Greater flamingos are the lightest pink of all flamingo species because of their diet. They'll eat tiny brine shrimp and other water creatures really high in carotene, which turns them that light pink color. If you look to your right, there are also some springbok roaming around. springbok got their name because when they're frightened, they will spring 6 feet up in the air, leaping at about 13 feet forward in the air. They're also capable of running at speeds of up to 50 miles an hour, which makes them among the top 10 fastest land animals. Now back to the greater flamingos, you can call a group of them a flamboyance of flamingos. And if you saw any greater flamingos that maybe looked light gray in color, not to worry, they are just babies. It takes about 2 years for that pink color to fully form on their feathers. Alright everybody, although I don't notice any animals just yet, there is a very large mud pit on the left. This is called the mud wallow, and mud wallows are often used by white rhinoceroses, so hopefully we'll find some white rhinos on our safari together. Similar to African elephants, white rhinoceroses do have very sensitive skin, so they will roll around or lay down in the mud wallow, take a nice refreshing mud bath, and use the mud as a natural sunblock. There is an animal really far to the right, that is the bontebok. It's really hard to see from over here, so hopefully we'll be able to get a better view of them later on. Now the bontebok is related to the wildebeest. They are known for their chestnut brown fur with a purple glossy color to it. Newborn bonteboks can actually stand within the first 5 minutes of their life and walk within the first 15. They are very fast learners. However, I do see an animal that will be way easier to find. Coming up on the left, there are some cheetahs. There looks like 2 of them. Now, cheetahs are the fastest land animals. They can travel at about 60 miles per hour in just 3 seconds. They can't maintain that speed for very long, however. It will usually only last for a couple hundred yards. So, picture length of about 2 or 3 football fields. That's about as far as the cheetah can maintain that speed because they often run in sprints. Cheetahs also use their tails to help them steer while they're running, really similar to the rudder of a boat. Now, unlike other big cats, cheetahs will actually hunt during the day. This is because they have black streaks under and around their eyes. This allows them to see better during the daylight. It's quite similar to how we'll wear sunglasses. Now, there are actually 4 or 5 cheetahs on the reserve, and they are all female, so you can actually call them the cheetah girls if you like. Now, coming up on the left, looks like there's going to be a very exciting animal for y'all to see. I hope y'all are ready for some lions. Now, lions will actually sleep or rest for about 16 to 20 hours a day, and they are nocturnal. So, they are very active at night, and their vision is actually about 6 times better during the nighttime than in the daytime, which makes them really excellent hunters at night. During the daytime, their vision is about equivalent to humans' vision. Female lions will actually do the majority of the hunting, while male lions will stay behind to protect the pride, the group of lions, especially their cubs. While hunting, lions will form a group because their prey is often a lot faster than they are, and they want to make sure they can corner their prey so they won't escape. Now, it looks like we are approaching some white rhinoceroses coming up on the right. Now, a group of them like this one you can actually call a crash of rhinoceroses. They can weigh 4,000 to 5,000 pounds on average. In Afrikaans, they like to call the white rhinoceros white. This doesn't translate to white, it actually translates to wide, referring to their broad square mouth. Here is another lion on the left. This one is a female lion. You can tell because she does not have a very large mane. She does not have a very large set of hair. The really large rock formation that they're all sleeping on is called the Kopi Rocks. And this acts as a lookout spot for the animals. So typically you will find predators like lions utilizing Kopi Rocks because it lets them scope out their prey, see where they might be located before they go out to hunt. Now, coming up on the left, there are some warthogs. Warthogs are related to domesticated pigs. They will build very large burrows, very large holes in the ground, using their feet, snout, and tusks. And the burrow will then act as their habitat, their home. Now, a lot of people like to call warthogs Pumbaa. However, Pumbaa is not Swahili for warthog. It's actually Swahili for foolish. Now, we're back to the white rhinoceroses. There's that bontebok once again. Now, white rhinoceroses and all rhinoceroses are very heavily coached because of their horns. Their horns are made out of keratin, the same material you would find in your hair follicles and your fingernails. There is also an ostrich. Now, ostriches are the world's largest and strongest birds. They are very fast runners as well. They can run at speeds of up to 40 miles an hour. They're the fastest runners with 2 legs. Now, coming up on the right, you may notice some ostrich eggs on the ground. Ostrich eggs can actually weigh up to approximately 3 pounds, which is the equivalent of 2 dozen chicken eggs. A human could actually stand on top of an ostrich egg and it would not crack or break. They are really just that strong. All right, everybody, we have made our way out of the savannah and we are heading back to the warden's post. There is one final animal for us to see today, the Nigerian dwarf goats on the left, so look out for them. Nigerian dwarf goats originate from North Africa. However, they have been domesticated and you can find them all over the world. They are more commonly known as milk goats. Although they are miniature, they are fully grown adults. They will engage in a lot of playful behavior. This includes chasing, climbing, and headbutting. This allows for the goats to mature physically, as well as determine who holds the most dominance in their group. Additionally, Nigerian dwarf goats have helped us to reduce and avoid poaching because of their milk. Nigerian dwarf goats can produce milk, and as humans we are able to sell that milk for a price without harming the animal whatsoever, which is quite the opposite from poaching for an African elephant's tusks or a white rhinoceros's horns that will harm the animal completely. Therefore, the Nigerian dwarf goat has helped us to build a healthier bond between humans and animals alike. It's also introduced us new dairy products, like goat cheese. Now, unfortunately, that does bring our safari to a close. I hope that all of y'all had fun out there on the reserve. I hope you were able to find your absolute favorite animal, or you were able to learn something new about an animal that you never heard of before. There are many ways to help out the animals. One way is as easy as recycling, making sure you reduce, reuse, and recycle as much as you can. Now, I like to recommend finding a reusable bag for all of your shopping to reduce the amount of plastic and paper bags in the world. Now, another way I like to recommend helping out the animals using recycling is by recycling your old electronic devices. There is a certain mineral in all of our electronics. It's called coltan. We have to mine for coltan. However, mining for coltan has resulted in habitat loss on behalf of the African elephants, as well as other animals you might find out here on the reserve. So the next time that you get a new phone, tablet, camera, or laptop, make sure you recycle the old one to help out the African elephants. You can actually go to the website earth911.com, and this will allow you to find the closest location to your home where you can recycle those electronics. Now, we are passing by these docks on the right. However, I am going to take y'all all the way back to the dock that I got you from, just in case you left any strollers, ECVs, scooters, wheelchairs, etc.